You are now listening to Fight Life Unfiltered.
What's up, man?
Not much.
Have you ever been on a podcast?
I did like a virtual one before, but
Scooching.
never like in person.
You're good.
Never in person? Okay, cool.
I've been struggling every time I go to edit. You got that lazy slouch in your thing,
Yeah,
and I'm
dude, I
like,
have some
fucking
bad
Lucas is half of his body's out of the camera angle.
I have some bad posture. I'll try to keep it up.
Slouching.
Yeah, but I need to be in that seat. So man, what's up?
Not too much. Just wrestling and training a bunch.
Yeah, yeah. So you ended up taking a red shirt this year?
Yeah, it was like a weird thing I had. I thought it was just like a herniated disc and got an MRI, got an X-ray. They said like I had some bulging discs, but you guys probably have those. That's like kind of a common thing. So I was like really confused because I was in like a lot of pain. Like I was having trouble walking and bending over and stuff like that, getting my stance. So they looked back into it, and I had this thing called like Bertolotti syndrome.
Bertolotti syndrome.
It was like I'm like so bad at explaining it, but like the notches that like come off your spine, like the bottom one, the one's like too big, and it was rubbing up against my sacrum, which I don't even know what that is, but I guess it was rubbing so much that it like fused together, and it just like I grew to, I guess I've had it my whole life, and I just grew to the size to where like my bones got like bunched up on each other, and now they fused together. And I was gonna get the surgery done in Morgantown, and they said they'd never seen it before, so they weren't gonna do it. And then I was gonna get it at UPMC, they wouldn't do it, so I have to go to New York to get it. But it's like by the dude who like wrote the handbook for it. So like if I'm gonna go anywhere, that's like the best place to
Yeah,
go.
Yeah, there you
that's
go.
awesome. And then what's the recovery time look like for that?
3 months, but I feel like that's like doctor talk, so
Yeah,
maybe like
yeah.
two.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I remember Flynn, I was at the airport heading to Colorado, right? And I'm about to get on my plane, and one of the WVU guys walks out, and I was like, "There's no way." And then the entire Flynn walks out, and I like go up and talk to him. I'm like, "Dude," and the entire WVU wrestling team just starts to come out of the plane. I was like, "What are the odds?" Right? And he was telling me, I was like, "How's Ty doing?" He was like, "Man, he's some weird shit. His back's messed up." Sat there shooting the shit with all them, but yeah, man, that's you're what, 19?
20,
You're
just turned
20, just
20.
turned 20. So you're true freshman, Big 12 winner, right? And then what'd you place last year? Fourth?
Yep,
Fourth. So, I mean, we can be patient. We got time. We got
definitely.
time on our
It was
side.
hard at first, but I think
Yeah.
now that it's like been a minute, I've definitely learned.
Yeah, especially you get a red shirt. I mean, in reality, you got to wrestle a little bit this year, got a little bit of experience and
Mm,
still get a red shirt out of it. That's pretty solid. Back in
Mhm.
the day, if you wrestled once, they burn it.
yeah. That's because they were gonna have me like keep wrestling after the All-Star Classic. I was like my back was like down bad, and we had App State like a week after, and Port was telling me like, all right, like, you got to get your weight back down and everything, and I was only like 5 over, and I couldn't even like run on the treadmill or do like any type of cardio to get the weight off, and we tried to find a sauna, and it just got to the point where we like accepted like there was no chance I was doing it, and I could if I like wrestled once in the second semester, I think that's where like you burn it, like you can't medical redshirt after that. So I like was really being kind of selective on what I was doing, and made sure I was being like smart with if I did wrestle in the second semester.
Yeah, and Flynn's obviously, been through it. He's got your
Oh
back
yeah.
in terms of that. I'm sure he's dealt with like, especially with the high profile wrestlers, like I mean, you were ranked what going into the season, third or second? And like obviously, I mean, we'd be contending top 10 right now, probably if you're
Yeah.
wrestling. And just like, he's smart enough to know when to sit you and when to not.
You were gone when he came.
Yeah, when did you graduate high school?
2023.
Yeah, I
I
graduated
feel real
college in
old.
2022. Graduated college in 2020. I feel old now. That's crazy. I remember the first time I met him, I was working on the mindset table um, in wherever that is. Where do they have Powerade?
Kinemac.
Yeah, at Cannon Mac. He was in Powerade, and I don't know if he had committed yet. I think he might have. And I was just talking to him, and like I did MMA, so he like knew who I was. And I was like probably one of the only people that did MMA from WVU at that point, at least. And he was just like, little ADHD kid, just like bouncing
Mm.
around. His girlfriend was just looking at him like, and I was like, all right. And then I watched him wrestle, and I was like, this kid's so good. And then your boy Sean Taylor was out there starting fights in the middle. His he's a year younger than you,
Yeah, he's a freshman this year.
bro. That kid's he's the funnest person to watch
Is he at
wrestle.
WVU as well?
Yes.
And you
He's
both went to West Allegheny?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's might be my favorite kid to watch wrestle, and it's not because of his style. It's because he's like he's pulling, he's pushing, he's
He's
clubbing
real
hard.
physical.
Yeah, he's pissing the moms off in the crowd. The kid's awesome. And then Ty's just like so slick. Like if you were like I think you remind me of Ed Ruth
Ooh.
in terms of wrestling, right? Your
He's
style,
tough.
yeah, just super slick. Um, it looks effortless when he wrestles. He's like one of the funnest people to watch wrestle. Um, and then, just watch him through Powerade and then watch him explode onto the college scene. I was like, damn, this kid's crazy good. I didn't expect, college wrestling, that jump for most people it's hard, right? That adjustment period, especially true freshmen coming out, and then he fucking had no problem.
Did you feel like the jump was hard, or do you feel like, yeah, okay, I can understand that, but it didn't seem different to me?
I think it was definitely a really hard jump. I think what prepared me a lot was in high school. My dad would always have me wrestling like college guys, and I was kind of getting my ass whooped a lot. So I think it's like always important to have like dudes who can whoop your ass, dudes who you can compete with, and dudes who you can kind of whoop on. But I remember like the first couple of days in there, I in high school, my goal with practice would always be like, oh, only my goal is to give up like 0 takedowns. And first practice. I was like, all right, like I'm gonna keep the same thing, 0 takedowns. And I had Peyton in like a 7 minute go, and he took me down 16 times. And I remember I went home and I was just so down bad and I was so depressed.
Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah. I said on the podcast, I don't think I got a takedown in college until I was like October.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't him when I came in, but I was it's rough. The adjustment period's hard. I heard David Taylor talk about this. He said he didn't get a takedown in college until he was like in December and kind of practice room. He's like,
That's
it's just
wild.
different. Yeah, he said like similar to you, like first practice, he's over in the corner crying, and Kale had to like come over and be like, hey man, you don't suck.
Well, to your point, that's if you're wrestling at that level, you were only getting takedowns before you walked into that room. So
Yeah.
if you don't have that perspective of getting your ass kicked and your mind's not strong, I can imagine the games that it would play inside of your head if you're like, what the fuck?
So yeah, I mean, how do you go from being a kid that was getting your ass whooped by Peyton? I'm sure you still are, right?
Oh yeah.
Uh, how do you go from being that kid to like jumping on the scene?
I think, and I feel like I've seen it a lot more now that I've seen like a freshman class come in and do it. Is I think like everyone when they first get in college, they're like super disciplined and super excited to kind of be the guy and I mean, it's really like what you've been working for your whole life. If you're wrestling, it's just a national tournament. And I think like people really start out disciplined and like doing all the right things, getting extra workouts, eating right, like doing everything right, not going out. And then they go, go, go. And then like kind of reality sets in and they hit their like first set of like hard adversity. And I think it's either like you either just stick to the plan and keep doing what you're doing, or you either kind of get pissed off from that and just fall off and do
Yeah.
your old stuff.
Yeah, so you think it was just consistency, right?
I think so for sure. Because I remember after Peyton did that to me at practice, I didn't even like know everyone on the team yet, and I beat our backup 41 in a match like 6-2 at practice, and I didn't even know what weight he was. I didn't even know his name, and I went up to Peyton after. I was like, bro, like I beat this dude at practice 6-2. Like I'm hyped. He's like, oh yeah, bro, like he's the backup 41. I was like, oh, bro.
It's a weight class below you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I think about the room is like you have guys in the room that are like can go with anybody, right? I'm sure there's people in the room that give you trouble, like whoever that was, right?
Mm.
And then you have guys in the room that just like aren't the best in the room, right? And we were talking
Oh
about, yeah,
yeah.
we were talking about that before you got here. Like there's some dudes that are just gamers, and there's some dudes that are good in the room. You're probably both, if I were to guess. And I think just like like a testament to your consistency, doing the right stuff. I think you bought into. I think that's the biggest thing, especially for a college program, especially ran under Flynn, is like you have to buy in. If you don't buy in, like then you're mentally in a like you're always kind of in an argument, right? And it's
Mhm.
always you can't be against your coaches all the time, right?
Is it buying into the strategy, the game plan, or the hard work? Obviously, it's probably all of the above,
Probably
but
all of it. What would you say?
I feel like I don't know. I think like when Port talks to me and stuff, like and I know he's like been in the national finals. I know he's been like where I want to be and stuff. And I think knowing that he kind of believes in me and like trusting in what he says, and like sometimes when I'm on the mat and it's like a real close match, like if he yells something, like the fact that he kind of believes in me motivates me to really like go after and get that next score and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like that coach relationships with an athlete's super important. I have that with Mike and Will, right?
Mhm.
And like, hey, if Port tells you to do the wrong thing and you get caught because of it, it's his fault, right? You just be like, hey, Port, don't ever tell me to do that again, right? If Mike ever puts me into a submission, I'm gonna be like, Mike, that was your fault. We lost because of you, right? And that's okay. But you have to like have that like almost like willingness to just do whatever they say, right? And it's going to pay off because their experience, especially with
Mhm.
Port and Flynn, like Port's been coaching now on probably 10 years.
Well, a coach is pushing you in a certain direction under the assumption that you are bought in. And I
Yeah.
think if you're not bought in
Yeah.
and they're telling you to do something and you're doing it from a position of, okay, I'm going to listen because I'm in a match. I'm hearing you. Okay, great, I'm going to do it. But you're not bought in, so maybe you don't believe in what they're telling you to do, but you're going to do it. That's when then you get caught. But if you buy in and believe, it's like, okay, he believes that I can do this. I believe I can do this. And then you do it. I would argue that more often than not, they're telling you to do it because they've been there 1,000 times and they know what they're telling you to do will work. And it's not going to work when you're maybe not confident in doing it yourself because you're not bought in.
Yeah. And it's half-second decisions, right? In
Mm-hmm.
wrestling and MMA. And that little hesitation, right? Where if you're like, hey, take a shot, right? If you're like, oh, no, I don't think it's there, right?
Yeah.
And then you don't do it, right? Or you take a shot a half second late, not doing what they're telling you to do. You're dealing with, you know what I mean? You kind
Mm-hmm.
of have to mindlessly go.
Yeah.
And the best athletes had a good relationship with their coach. Look at Tom Brady, look at Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have that like relationship with their coach where it's almost like collaborative. You might not be there yet because you're a freshman, but I'm sure the way Peyton is
Oh
with,
yeah.
yeah, with Port and Flynn, it's like a sign of respect, right? They're like, all right, with Peyton, what's your thought? What they probably are like, hey, Peyton, what do you think the workout should be today at points, right? And it's like that's an earned thing, right? I saw that a little bit with Killian when I was at WVU, even Noah, right? There's always leaders. It's been since Flynn got there, there's always been a leader on the team, and they've always been one of the best wrestlers. Luckily, sometimes it does not work out that way. Sometimes the best wrestlers are not good leaders, but Noah and then Killian and then Peyton, and then after Peyton graduates, I mean, he's your guy because he does all the right stuff. So hard worker, good wrestler. So what's it look like? I know Peyton went to West A, right? Or Peyton went to Oak
Oakland.
Glen, right? Isn't it right around the way?
He's in West Virginia, but it's like he used to come to Gladiators all the time. I think it's only like a 25-minute drive.
So what was it like looking? Like, did you look up to Peyton?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because he came to Gladiators his whole life. He came to Gladiators his whole life. In his senior year, all like the guys he would wrestle with went on to college at Gladiators. So he went to Quest his senior year. And I would be on all his duel teams and I would just see all the slick stuff he was doing. And I kind of tried to emulate my style a little bit off his and how like high flying and like lackadaisical he was. I thought it was like something I could kind of do with my build and like his build.
Yeah.
And wrestling him, he would just hit like real slick stuff on me and do me kind of dirty. And then I would go grab a kid and I would go do it to them. So it was just perfect.
Yeah, it's like that iron sharpens iron thing.
Mm.
And Peyton's how much older than you? 4, 3?
T 23 or 24.
Yeah, I think he's only a year younger than me, maybe. Yeah, I think he's only a class below me.
I always think he's older just because he like
He had a
has a
red shirt.
fiance now.
Yeah, man. I mean, the dude lives like a saint. He's Peyton's like the best kid in the world. We'll probably get him on it. So, dude, here's who Peyton Hall is. Peyton Hall's in the Big 12 finals on March 9th. You know what he does? Text me happy birthday. I was like, bro, what do you got finals coming up? Like literally it was like an hour or two before the final. I was like, thanks, man.
Mhm.
Con Congrats on winning Big 12s. But he's just like that's who he is, very like selfless of a person. And like for somebody who's gonna get mentored in a way, right?
Mhm.
I couldn't pick a better person than Peyton. And I'm sure like when you got in the room, like one, how was the recruiting process?
So it was actually kind of weird. My freshman year, I like wrestled. I was hurt a lot of the year and I wrestled our qualifiers like sections, whippeals, and states.
Mhm.
And I was like hurt all the way up until like sections, whippeals, and states. And I qualified. I literally had to shave my head on the scale. I was point 0.1 over. It's actually funny. I wrestled Tyler Kasich was the one who knocked me out of the tournament. Sophomore year, it was like the COVID year, so it was all weird. We wrestled Powerade and I fractured my kneecap, so I was out then. I only had like 12 high school matches to like get recruited off of when I was able to.
Yeah.
And like a couple schools hit me up and WVU was one of them. And I went on a visit. I committed on like a 20% scholarship. And I just knew that I was going to kind of be able to show myself a lot more throughout high school. And then I had won the 2 state titles. They raised the scholarship, and like some other schools started hitting me up. And I really liked that W kind of stuck with me from the jump, and they were the ones who believed in me. And I haven't like the relationship I have with Port is just so awesome, and the way he helps me with everything. I feel like Port is like one of the best coaches in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Um, I think that's special and kind of like a testament to who you are by sticking with WVU after like, I'm sure the big name schools hit you up, right? You're a 2-time PA state champ, got this slick style, you're exciting to watch, and you're like, nah, I'm sticking with these guys, right?
What percentage of WVU's team is PA wrestlers?
Mm, not much.
Really?
I mean, me, Sean, Jack Bloomer, Dowling. It's really Wolf.
It's mostly the tri-state. Like it's West Virginia,
Mm,
PA, and Ohio.
Mhm.
And then you get some outliers like Jets from Colorado,
Colorado.
Titus from New York, but it's mostly the tri-state, right? And I think like for WVU, they probably knew who you were, right? And they're like, we're not letting this kid. They knew you were early, right? And they didn't want you to leave. They got on you early, and then it paid off. That's awesome. And what's the relationship like with Port? Like, is it like a older brother type thing? Is he?
Definitely. When we wrestle in the room, most of the time it gets real heated and it's like it almost feels like a fist fight. And I just get so pissed at him. And in the moment, I literally want to kill him. And I can tell he wants to kill me too. But like after the practice, he'll like, we'll always like just show respect to each other and he'll tell me what I did wrong and everything. And I think having that, someone who I can like really go to war with and not have like any confliction after is always something good.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's special too, right? With Flynn's getting a little older, right? Like he can't be wrestling in the room. He was wrestling when I was.
Was he
He
whooping
drills
everybody's
sometimes.
ass?
Dude, he would my freshman year, he'd low-key whoop my ass, right? Um, but like on our feet, I was just too athletic. I'm too young and fast. And then on bottom, like he's strong on top. And then I'd get on top. And I didn't understand how he's like Peterson me. Like he's just, I was like, what the fuck is this? Right? He's throwing me and onto my back and doing these weird moves, doing switches and stuff. And I was like, what was the whole thing to get on bottom? Like, what's going on here? But no, Flynn's like, he was All-American at Penn State.
Mhm.
Before Penn State was like Penn State, but I mean, they were a great wrestling program. I mean, he's coached some of the best wrestlers in the world. So, you know, he's very good at
Because
wrestling.
you always have the debate, or maybe it's not a debate, but coaches who have done what they coach. And then there's other great coaches. You look at a Bill Belichick, you mentioned Belichick, like Belichick can't go out and do what Tom Brady could do or what the defense could do, but he was coaching. And there's something special about being able to go out and earn the respect from people because of just the knowledge that you have. And football's a little different, but with wrestling, I
Yeah.
would imagine if you're a real standout high school wrestler and you come to college and you've got a coach that wasn't as good as you or that wasn't able to just whoop your ass, I think with combat sports, there might be something to be said for somebody like that. Like you look at, are you going to like question Mike?
No.
You know what I mean? Like there's a level of respect where it's like you've been here. And I don't know if it's unique to wrestling and MMA, but I would think that it would be a lot harder to respect someone who's telling you to do something in a like one-on-one physical thing when if they got on the mat with you, you'd whoop their ass and you also knew that they were never as good as you. It doesn't mean that they don't have the knowledge in their
Hmm.
brain to be valuable, but I think it would be harder.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Like I feel like football is a little bit different.
Hmm.
Especially wrestling, I'd say for the most part,
Every coach has
every
wrestled,
coach
right?
was like a pretty solid wrestler.
Like, could you be a good coach at the collegiate, like a high level collegiate wrestling program if you hadn't put time in on the mats?
I mean, not if you hadn't put time in on the mats, right? But maybe if you didn't wrestle at like a high level. Like I think I would be a good wrestling coach, but like I wouldn't be as knowledgeable. I think like Luke Martin. Luke Martin's somebody I view as would be an amazing college wrestling coach. Dude knows the ins and outs of wrestling.
Hmm.
He was a D2 national champion, right? That's a big fucking deal. But if you look at the resume of other people, right, that might not be at the top. Um, so I think Luke Martin, like there's examples,
Hmm.
but like you have to be in there. And I think one thing is like he really points out Port, and it's because like it's different having somebody go to war with you, right? Port's in the room scrapping with him on a Tuesday and he's wrestling on a Thursday.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Port's actually doing this stuff. Not only is he actually doing this stuff, he's only like 8, 10 years removed from competing in the national finals, right? So I think that's special. And I also, one thing I really, really love about Port is Port never accomplished his goal. His goal was to be a national champion. He got some bad draws, right? He had some of the toughest people in wrestling history in his weight class.
Hmm.
And I think him never accomplishing his goals, he really pours into wrestlers just a little bit more,
Hmm.
a little bit extra, because he doesn't want, the mistakes he made or the things he did wrong. I know he had hard weight cuts, right? He really pours into his wrestlers. And I think you can see it with like, the people he mentors and how
Hmm.
much they like appreciate him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it speaks to someone like, think about John Donner.
Yeah.
I mean, I know John has some skill, but he's got a lot of physical ailments, but widely regarded as the greatest jiu-jitsu coach ever.
Yeah.
And not somebody that's like a world champion. It's all from his mind,
Yeah.
which I think like that's the exception. I look around like every coach that I have, and I mean, it's not a very high bar to whoop my ass, but
Yeah.
everybody that I'm taking instruction with, it's like, what am I going to question you?
Yeah.
You take me, you'll just go out there and just play with me.
Just beat my ass.
It's
Yeah. And I think like learning, like there's going to be a time in the room where you're beating Port, right? In a couple of years and still being able to be like, all right,
Still being
I
able to
can
learn
still
from
listen.
him.
Yeah, that'll be important. But you trained jujitsu too, didn't you? Like growing up as a kid?
My dad, so
Yeah, give me a rundown on your dad, right? Because
so
I've heard a lot of things, but I don't think I've ever formally met him.
he was world champion jiu-jitsu, and he had his own fight team called H2O MMA. And my cousin fought on it, my dad's best friend, a bunch of other guys. And when I was younger, they would train a lot of different places. But I remember when I would be real young, they would be training guys that are in the high school, West Allegheny High School's room. And so I was just around it all the time. And my dad, he's kind of like very violent and physical. And so like when we were younger, we would play a lot and he would like play very rough. So I feel like it helped a lot with my development. But yeah, we'll always mess around and he'll show me stuff. But growing up, the fights would always be on. He'd have everyone over and I kind of just like was absorbed into it and learned to love it.
Yeah. Is Bronco Busick, did he train with your dad?
I'm not sure.
Bronco? I'm pretty sure he did. Because he knows Caleb Ray and Peyton really well at that Gladiators club.
Bronco's been around for a while.
Yeah, Bronco fights in April, and
Yeah, a bit. He's fighting. Looks like he's enormous.
yeah, last dude Bronco fought. Bronco's like probably a true 85 pounder, maybe
Yeah.
a 205 pounder. Last dude he fought was like actually 2 fights ago was like 265. Bronco picked him up and slam. He eventually lost the fight, but like I wasn't there, but Will said he was like, Bronco, don't pick him up. Don't pick him up. Bronco picks him up, keeps him in the air for like 3 seconds, and then slams him down. Bronco's like he's an anomaly to human strength.
Mm.
And but he's also like you would meet him and be like, dude, this dude's terrifying. The nicest human you've ever
Played
met.
football at WVU, right?
No idea. I think so.
Think he played middle linebacker, maybe?
Sounds about right. He's probably had like a couple lives. It seems that way. He's like one of those guys where you're like, if he was like, yeah, I was a sheriff, I'd be like, yeah, that's about right. Navy SEAL, yeah, played football. I was in the NFL. I would believe anything he told me. But so you want to transition to MMA, right?
Yeah, I definitely do.
That's awesome. Like, what's that look like for you? As like you're 20 years old, you still have 3 years of eligibility left. What's that look like for you? I know you're signed with Iridium, right? And they got their hands on you fast. Like, what's it look like for you? Like, what's the path?
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, obviously I'll be up training with you guys and anytime an opportunity comes up, I'll always take it to train jujitsu, MMA, anything of that nature, anything that like branches off of that. But I don't really know like what the plan is right after college to like what promotion to go to or where to go or who to talk to for that. But I think the guys at Iridium will be able to help with that a lot and point me in a good direction to get where I need to go. And I'll do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good call. And even like, I mean, 3 years from now, hopefully I'll be pretty far into the UFC, right? And you can just tag along, right? Go to the PI and do all that stuff. It'll be a good journey. I think your transition to MMA will be pretty seamless. At least your transition to grappling, as far as jujitsu and wrestling, very athletic, very bendy, and uh, just getting that striking down.
Yeah, my friend Ramil, do you know Ramil?
I don't think so.
He's committed to West Virginia to wrestle. He's a boxer and he started wrestling in eighth grade. So like he hasn't been wrestling that long and he wasn't even going to wrestle in college. He was just going to sign pro at 18. And he's like the real deal.
That's sick.
And he ended up becoming real good. He took fourth at states last year and he did good at states this year and he's coming to WVU. But I remember I sparred with him after practice when he was like 20 pounds lighter than me. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to mess him up. Bro, he is good.
Really?
Yeah, he
That's
beat
what's
me
up.
up pretty bad.
Damn, I'll have to get him up here, train him. That's sick.
Yeah, I would love that. He's so nice.
And I gonna put this on. We're gonna keep Ty safe. Ty is not gonna get hurt, right? You're not allowed to get hurt. When him and Peyton came to the Stout Fight team, I was like, Mike, they're not allowed to get hurt on my watch. It's not allowed.
Could you imagine having to make that phone call?
Yeah, bro.
Oh,
Flynn never talked to me again. And then he ends up hurting Josh. But it was an accident. But yeah, I was like, Mike, we are keeping them so safe. They're only going me, Luke, and Josh, and maybe did you go with anybody else?
I went with a couple guys. I don't know their name though.
Okay. Yeah, we kept, I was like, we picked the partners. We were like, but they were all like the best people because we trusted them too. Um, but yeah, it's just got to keep you safe, right? Make sure you're doing the right stuff, right? Wrestling is priority right now. And the best, like, I tell anybody that wants to fight MMA, one, I tell them they shouldn't, but I think you should, right? You have the mental, like, strong suits to do it, and you also are wrestling at a high level. But what's the best thing to be an MMA fighter is to wrestle in college for 4 years. It's literally a like a prereq. You know what I mean? It's like you're
mhm.
getting like you could go transition to MMA at 18 years old, maybe get a little bit of a head start on an amateur career, learn jujitsu, learn striking a little bit more, be more comfortable. But if you just wrestled in college for 4 years, you're already going to start like one, you're getting hit up by iridium. Right? That wouldn't happen if you just transitioned to
Mm.
MMA. You're gonna, just propel yourself into when you do start your amateur career, just back to back to back to back. You know what I mean? Look at me and Luke Martin. Like we've did our whole entire amateur career in a year, right? Where most people, it would have took them that 4 year gap anyway
Hmm.
to get there. They might have beat us by a year, but like we also have that like mental
You
fortitude.
can't substitute the wrestling room for 4 years.
No,
The
it's not
intensity,
possible.
the push, that mentality.
No, no.
It's, I mean, I feel it. Even I see guys and I'm just like, I wish I would have wrestled younger because I can't supplement what I never went through. Like I can kind of envision what it was, but I know there's days where I wish I had 4 years of experience to look back on and a lifetime before that, right? It's not just the 4 years in college, but it's the whole youth. I, putting yourself through that, like basketball practice wasn't wrestling practice.
Yeah.
And I can't go back and put my finger on a day and be like, yeah, I've been here before, right? Like I have to try to make those memories now as a grown adult. It's just like not possible.
What's the hardest workout that they have you do now?
Mm.
It's your least favorite.
Are you saying cardio or wrestling?
Cardio.
Definitely Law School Hill.
Law school, same. I hated it. It's a hill right next to WVU football stadium. It's straight up in the air. I don't think it like has a curve. It's just straight up. It's like it's so
Is it just
rough.
like
Well,
up,
there's
jog down, or
you
is it?
and Port makes us start like usually we as soon as you get down the stairs you can just run straight back up and now Port makes us like go to the parking lot on the side so it's like
Yeah,
longer. You have to run up it and
yeah.
then there's like a huge set of staircases and you have to like you're not even allowed to like walk down. You got to kind of jog down the stairs because like once you finish they set like a timer and you only get like a set break.
You get a minute to get down the
Yeah,
stairs.
and like after like round three, four. This is probably my legs are a good bit weaker than a lot of people's on the teams, but
Dude. Yeah, same.
like round three, four, we usually do like 10. And round three, four, coming down the stairs, my knees like start to buckle a little bit because how tired my legs are, and it's hard to get down there fast.
Yeah. I remember there was a couple ones we would do like the long distance runs I could do. I would be like top 10, top 15 and 30, right? If the longer it was, the better I would do. The plate workouts I was even good at. You put me on Law School Hill, I'm getting
Mm.
damn near last. It was rough. I don't know why the lactic acid in my legs like would build up
Yeah.
on the top and I'd
Mm.
be dying. And then you'd see like the stock, yeah, like I bet Sean Taylor's good at it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Brody.
because they just
Short, choppy step
yeah,
right up the
like a
hill.
running back. The lanky dudes struggle on it, and it pisses me off because I'm like, dude, I'm so much more in shape than you. I can run twice as far as you, but you're just getting up that hill
Built for that
faster.
low center of gravity.
It's wild.
Even Feck, like his running was obviously
Dude, he's
outstanding.
so good.
But even Law School Hill, he kind of struggled with that too.
Yeah, I think it's like a how you're built type of thing. Like obviously you can get through it no matter what, but like if you're a long and lanky guy, it's probably not going to be the best one for you. Um, last thing, what's the goals?
Um,
What's the next goal?
I feel like I set goals like from smaller to bigger, and I don't know. I feel like it's always weird for me to like say my goals because I feel like weird about it, but I always feel like that's a good thing.
Hmm.
Oh,
And
it should be uncomfortable to say, or else you're not striving for a big enough goal.
yeah. So I think next year I want to try my best to not give up any takedowns. Obviously, go undefeated, win Big 12s, win nationals, and for that's next year. But ultimate goal is obviously be in the UFC and win a title.
Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna win some national championships, right? Maybe beat Greg Jones' record.
Mm,
Maybe beat Peyton Hall's new record of wins. I don't know. That one might be hard.
that would be really hard.
That'd be hard. He did have 5 years.
Who's like the best wrestler to ever come out of West Virginia?
Greg Jones.
Greg Jones.
Yeah. He's a coach at Killcliff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
He's
just
tough.
yeah. I was trying to go out there for alumni day, but it didn't work out. But they honored him. 3-time national champion.
So that's where I've heard that name,
Hmm.
Rumble.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah, he was Rumble's coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a super good dude. I've never met him in person. I talked to him a little bit online. I plan on going out there very soon. They're
Yeah.
very close with my management company. So
Yeah.
yeah. But I want Ty to be way better than him. That's my goal. I want Ty to be the best WVU wrestler ever. And I think that's an achievable goal. I think, you're setting your goals and you're just saying them like they're nonchalant. Like that's what it is. You know what I mean? Like you have very high goals. You do the right things. You're not out here messing around, right? And that's a testament to like the things you've already accomplished, right? Coming out of college, 18 years old, especially going to a school like WVU, and there's distractions, but you've blocked them out and like really focused on what you wanted, and just continue to do it, man. Like,
Yeah, you carry yourself well for your age.
Thank you.
Yeah. Makes sense that your dad's violent.
Mm.
oh shit.
No, it's funny. Like I Lucas knows this. So I've got 3 little boys. My 5-year-old is like he tells me every day I'm going to be a world champ. Like has to go to all the fights. Has to. I mean, he was like, Dad, I want to go over. He was like, I want to go pose with Hoot's belt. I'm like, okay, like let's go. He wanted to meet Ethan. He had to get a photo with Lucas after the fight, and like I didn't grow up as a wrestler. I grew up in competitive sports and was fortunate to be on a lot of teams that were like really good, very competitive. I played college baseball and then have gotten into grappling over the last 5 or 6 years. And I'm always picking the brains. I've asked Luke Martin, I've asked Ramirez, I talked with Wilkins, I've talked with Lucas and his parents last week. Like, I don't want to push my son to hate what he loves today because I have like this weird desire. I've seen those parents and I don't want to ever be those parents. But I also think that there's a value to pushing your kid. And when you were saying like you guys would play and your dad would be like rough with you, I get side-eyed sometimes. We'll be at like a family event and I'm like
Oh
wrestling with
yeah.
my son. I'll put him in a headlock and he'll be like, Dad, you're squeezing too tight. And people are like, hey, let him go. He's 5. And I'm like, he's fucking fine. Like, there's a balance though, and I question myself all the time, probably because I'm not a psycho enough, but I want to push it. I want him to have adversity and have to deal with, like understand what pain is. Like he got thrown hard yesterday. And
Yeah.
then last night he came into my room. He's like, Dad, my back hurts from when I got thrown. And I was like, okay, like rub it off.
Yeah.
But
I think like loving it's important too, right? Like I think, obviously like you raise a kid a certain way, right? That's kind of like just in case. Like it's not even like wrestling based or jiu-jitsu based or fighting based, right? It's like you got to be a tough fucking man because
something ever
life's
happens to
hard.
me.
Life's hard, and
Yeah.
if something happens, you're the oldest, right? But you also got to love it and want it. This kid loves it. Like I remember like post you're going to Big 12s and it's just him fucking smiling, right? And I was just like he just like he loves it. You can tell he loves it, right? And I'm the same way. You can just tell that like when I'm at the event, like it's just I enjoy it. I
Mhm.
genuinely enjoy it. And you can tell pretty early on. Like Hendrix fucking loves it, right? And it's his first love, right?
Mhm.
And that's something that like, he's gonna carry. right? And if you know you get burnt out, you get burnt out. And can really not a ton of control over it. But if it's their genuine interest, in my opinion, like fucking let them go all in.
Did we talk about that with Gilbert Arenas? Talking
No.
about his son? I heard a really interesting interview with Gilbert Arenas, and he was saying his son, he's like, I've told him, you have to love the game of basketball if you want to get to where you're going, because he's like, I got where I got because of fear. I grew up in the ghetto. And he's like, you're going to go up against other kids that are coming from a really bad situation. And so they're fighting tooth and nail to get out of that bad situation. He's like, you're growing up with silk sheets, man. Your dad, I've got $100 million. Like you don't have what those kids have. That's just the fact and the reality. So
Yeah.
you're going to have to love it so much that that's what drives you forward.
Yeah, I get that. I get that for sure. I think you know, I wasn't like talk about it all the time. I wasn't a stellar wrestler, but I fucking love the game more than anybody. That's why I'm still doing it when there's
Mm-hmm.
people that quit freshman year, people that, you know, didn't propel into an MMA career. It's right.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it with all of me. That's why I'm gonna have success. He loves it so much. That's why he's gonna get through an injury like a back injury that people could
Mm-hmm.
fucking quit, right? Like that's an excuse enough to be done, right? But he's like
Yeah.
just worrying about getting back on the mats, right? Battling through it and wanting to learn jujitsu in the middle of it, hanging out with you know, me and Luke. So it's just like, you
Yeah.
know, you gotta love it. At the end of the day, like you have to work hard. You have to do this. Like you have to do all the stuff. But if you don't love the game, you're not gonna have success. You
Mm-hmm.
just won't. You have to genuinely wake up in the morning and want to go to practice, right? There'll be times you have to force yourself to go, but you have to want
That's
to go.
normal. That's
Yeah,
normal,
that's just
you
like,
know?
you know, you wake up in the morning and you're fucking tired, right? You ate ice cream the day before, your tummy hurts,
Oh, I've
right?
even heard Goggins talk about that. He's like, I'll look at my shoes for like 20 minutes and be like, I don't want to fucking run. And to hear that from somebody who's just notorious for being like a motherfucker about work, it's like, okay. I think you have to understand that it's okay to hate to do it, but it's like the old Tyson quote, like, discipline is doing something you don't want to do and doing it like you love it.
So I did.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's on. That's crazy. Yeah. We're finishing up anyway.
I did want to ask, you were at the fights.
Hmm.
So I think I see you were rocking around in your affliction gear.
Yep.
So this is probably it's probably relevant for all of us, but I'd be interested your perspective in this. So there was a fight, the 110s.
Oh, the girls.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So both tough as shit.
Yeah.
The girl that won, I
Very
mean,
fucking good.
yeah, she looked like a fucking gladiator.
Yeah.
Um, I just kind of, as I'm a jokester, I asked my brother who doesn't train. My brother was a catcher, played baseball, uh, super strong, but he's like 5'6.5", 5'7". He's short. He's probably a little heavier than I am, just but really, really strong. And I said, "What do you think would happen if, like, do you think you could beat her in an MMA fight?" And my brother looked at me and was like, "I would fuck her up." And that was the look that I gave him. That look right there. So I want to get your perspective, right? Like obviously
Oh, I got a
weight
good one for
classes,
this.
girls, skill that
It's hard. It's hard. Like 110-pound girl is a 110-pound girl at the end of the day.
right.
But I don't know, man. I mean, a trained person's probably going to beat an untrained person most of the time. But there's like, you know, there's a weight class difference that's going to get you eventually. Um, Especially with somebody who's a baseball player who can throw a ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same as throwing a punch. But they get them down to the ground. That's where it's over. That's where it's
Gets him in a
wrapped.
crucifix or something
Yeah.
and starts elbowing him in the
Like
face.
Ronda Rousey, I remember when people were like, Ronda Rousey might fight Floyd in MMA. I was like, Ronda would fucking maul him. Like boxing, right? As long as she doesn't get knocked out going in with a punch, she's guaranteed to win. Right? There's a skill gap. What's your thought?
When I went down to Vegas with Iridium,
Uh,
Alexa Grasso was teaching us on one of the sessions, and we were sparring, and I was with her one of the times, and I just like didn't really know how hard to go or like what really to do, just because like I don't want to say because she's a girl, but also she's in the UFC, so I don't want to do anything wrong or like do anything I
You
shouldn't.
throw a right hook and knock her
Yeah.
unconscious.
You look like a dick too.
And right off rip, she threw a spinning back kick to my chest, and it connected, and it hurt so bad. And I was like, "Holy shit! Like these girls are a lot better than what I was assuming." So I like found out real quick. I mean, I started wrestling after and doing a little bit better, but she's definitely very tough.
Yeah, I mean Carly Joe Thomas, I already said it once.
Yeah. That's why I knew you'd
Everybody's
have an interesting
fucking
perspective.
terrified of her, right? Everybody in Pittsburgh is like, oh, fuck, I gotta go with Carly. And that's whether it's with grappling, sparring, whatever. It's fucking scary.
Mhm.
Um, so I mean, yeah, I pick like a girl like Carly or that girl. What was that girl's name? Give her a
I feel
shot.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah. She's fucking tough, man.
Yeah, she was.
She's lanky, just catching that girl at the end of her punches. She should go pro, 100%.
Yeah, they were both from New York State, right?
Um, I believe the one dude was from Bethlehem, PA. I believe his fiance or her fiance, Matt
Paige
Santos.
Wilcox.
Okay,
Yeah,
and then the other girl was
Paige Wilcox.
Santos.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
She was tough.
yeah, they're both tough as shit.
Shout out Paige Wilcox. 'Cause
Yeah,
I think you'd kick my brother's ass.
let's run it.
Yeah, right.
Let's set it up.
Yeah, I was thinking it
2.7
because I saw Brendan Schaub talking about fighting Ilya Taporia.
him fighting Ilya.
It got
Well, I think that's different though
because
because
they both have
well,
fought.
Brennan also was like a top 10 UFC heavyweight. I feel like everybody forgets that. Like,
Mhm.
I kind of like Brendan, right? And
I know you like
everybody hates Brendan, but dude, he was a top 10 UFC
I didn't
heavy. He
even know
knocked
that.
out Mirko Krokop.
Mhm.
If you think Ilya Taporia is gonna beat him, that's insane to me.
Today, though.
Okay, maybe if they like fought on the street.
I tend to agree. I don't think that it would just be like I
I
think
I just completely think Brendan would maul him. It's not fair. It's like, do you think you would beat Wolfgram?
No.
It's not fair. It's not a fair fight. Brendan's also like a black belt,
yeah.
right? Like I don't know.
Which
I think
then it
Brendan,
goes to the fact that he talks about when he was at the peak of his peak, he would go to Jackson's and he was like, I was warmed up, ready
yeah,
to
you get
go.
fucked up by John
And
Jones.
John Jones would show up 20 minutes late, probably coked out from the night before, and would like, all right, let's go. And he's like, he would fucking mop the floor with me and other top tier. And I mean, you think that's probably like Frank Mir was in that room at that time.
Yeah,
Who else was in that room?
I mean, I have no idea, but I mean, he's also like he can self-deprecate a little bit where he's talking about like John Jones beating his ass. I
Mhm.
think if he was like, I don't know, I feel like he'd be like, Topor would beat my ass, right?
Mhm.
He's literally 100 pounds bigger than him.
Mhm.
Like, it's just wild thought to me.
Yeah.
He's in shape too. It's not
Oh
like he's
yeah,
a fat
yeah.
person. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Now I'm mad. I'm
He
upset.
knows I give a little axe to grind with certain MMA fighters.
Yeah, I mean everybody has beef with Brennan, but I do think like at the end of the day, he's a very skilled heavyweight fighter. He would maul fucking 90% of individuals.
I'm a big Taporia fan, but I definitely agree
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah, I like Topuria a lot. I think Topuria is the best fighter in
He's
the
changing his
MMA
name.
pound for
You see
pound
that?
right now.
He's changing his name
Why?
because
For
he's going
what?
to a different. He hasn't released. He said, "I'm the Matador." Was
Oh,
was
his
his
fight
name?
name.
Yeah,
I thought you meant his real
I
name.
thought he was
he's
going Meta World
Tanya.
Peace
He's
on
going
us.
to naming himself Tanya.
Meta World Peace.
No, he's changing his fight
Gangrene.
name.
Huh.
And
Okay.
then big fight this weekend.
Oh yeah. We gotta talk about that. Sean
Yes.
Brady.
Leon
Edwards. Sean Brady's one of my favorite fighters in the game. He's somebody if you want to emulate grappling style, fucking best grappler in my opinion. I mean, I think he's the best grappler in MMA. That's a hot take, but
He out grappled Gilbert Burns
he beat Craig Jones in
in an actual grappling
in an
match.
actual grappling match. Who is probably
Is he a better grappler than Islam?
yeah. Grappling? Like if they had a grappling match?
Yeah, I
he'd
mean,
beat-
obviously different weight
Yeah,
classes,
he'd beat
but
Islam.
Islam's a big 155er. Brady's a
He'd beat
big
Islam.
170.
He'd beat Islam in a grappling match, I believe.
What
Yeah.
about in a fight? I know I'm throwing all these like unrealistic scenarios,
I
but
think he'd beat Islam in a fight.
No way.
I think he would. I think
Dude,
Islam striking's a little bit better, but I think I've seen Islam get taken down a little bit. I haven't watched Sean fight Bilal, so I want to watch that fight. I've never watched it.
the striking was,
Mid.
yeah,
Did
it was a
Sean get
lot
taken
better.
down?
I want to say, I don't know if he did.
I doubt it. I don't know, but I pick Sean over Leon. I think Leon's. I mean, it's a style for style matchup. It reminds me of like Will's favorite fighter would probably be like Leon. He's an open stance based guy. Mike's is Sean Brady, right? Like it's a kind of a clash of styles where it's like straight up grappler versus striker. So we root for the grapplers in those ones, and he's a affiliate to our gym, so we kind of have to. He's built like a fucking gorilla too. I've trained with like not with him, but in the same room as him, and he's just fucking his back's the size of a fucking wall. And he just walks around like this, just fucking all tatted up, just cool as shit. Just like, hey, what's up, man? And then just fucks everybody up. Everybody I've ever met that has gone with Sean Brady said he's the strongest human they've ever felt. So I feel like Leon Edwards, especially after watching his Bilal fight, I don't think it's gonna go his way. But
If Bilal wasn't the champ right now, I'd say Sean Brady would be the champ by the end of this year.
I still think Sean Brady will be the
I don't
champ.
think that Bilal fights Sean Brady this year.
I think Bilal's just gonna sit around
I
and
think
not do
he
shit.
will find some way to not go and fight Sean Brady.
I mean, it's already April.
But I think Sean Brady will be the welterweight champ in the next 18 months.
I don't know. I'll take the odds. I'll put Sean Brady. What's he at? What is probably plus like 400? I'll put Sean Brady champ by 2026. I'll take those bets.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, we're gonna beat the shit out of Ty, me and Luke.
Have fun with that.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming.
of course.
Definitely looking forward to the journey, and I think you've got yourself aligned with the right person, obviously, and that's it's exciting. WVU wrestling, man, that's
On a trend.
powerhouse.
Peyton Hall Natty champ by Sunday. By the time this podcast comes out, Peyton Hall Natty champ.
He said it.
Hell yeah.